Unplug to level up. A digital detox blueprint for focus, peace, and deep rest. Before we start, take one slow breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment. Exhale like you're setting something heavy down. If you're listening to this, you're probably not looking for another productivity trick. You're looking for a reset, a return, a way to get your mind back. Because something has been happening to a lot of people quietly and gradually. And most don't have the words for it. They're not always anxious, they're not always depressed, but their mind never fully lands. They feel scattered. They feel behind. They feel like they're busy all day, but their life isn't moving. They try to focus, but their attention slips. They try to rest, but their body doesn't fully relax. They try to sleep, but they wake up tired. And the most confusing part is it starts to feel normal. Constant input, constant noise, constant reaction. But you are not broken. You may simply be overstimulated. Your nervous system may be stuck in a low-grade state of tension and scanning, always ready for the next ping, the next message, the next thing to check. This audiobook isn't about becoming extreme. It's not about deleting everything and moving into the woods. It's about rebuilding a foundation that modern life has quietly weakened. Focus, peace, and deep rest. Because when those three return, your life changes. Not because you become someone else, but because you become yourself again without the fog. You don't need perfection, you need structure. And when you slip, you don't spiral, you return. That's the real skill, the comeback. So as you listen, don't treat this like entertainment. Treat it like a blueprint. Pick one idea, one boundary, one practice, and apply it today. That's how this becomes real. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Invisible Tax. Why you feel drained, scattered, and behind. Most people blame themselves. They say they're lazy, they can't stay consistent, they don't have discipline, they're not motivated. But what if the problem isn't your character? What if the problem is the invisible tax you're paying every day? It's a tax on your attention, on your nervous system, on your mood, and on your ability to do deep work and feel real peace. This tax is subtle, which is why it's so dangerous. It's not one big dramatic event. It's thousands of tiny interruptions. Every time you check your phone, even for a second, your body shifts. Your mind prepares to react. Your attention splits. Even if nothing important is there, your nervous system still learns a pattern. Stay alert. Something might be happening. Now repeat that pattern all day. Wake up and check. Brush your teeth and check. Eat and check. Work for a few minutes and check. Walk from one room to another and check. Wait in line and check. Feel a moment of silence and check. Then people wonder why their mind feels restless and tired. It's because your nervous system never gets the signal that it's safe. You're never fully off. You're never fully at rest. You're always slightly braced. And when you're always slightly braced, life becomes heavier than it should. Tasks feel harder. Decisions feel annoying. People feel irritating. Your patience shrinks. Your creativity dries up. Your motivation feels inconsistent. Not because you're weak, but because a scattered mind can't build a strong life. And it's not just screen time. It's how the screen time is designed. Modern apps don't just show you content. They run a system built on novelty, interruption, and maybe someone likes something. Maybe someone messaged you. Maybe there's something you need to see. Maybe there's something better than what you're doing right now. That maybe is addictive because your brain is wired to pay attention to uncertainty. Uncertainty could mean opportunity or danger, so your brain checks again and again. What you lose isn't just minutes. You lose depth, presence, and the ability to stay with one thing long enough to build momentum. You lose the feeling of being centered. You lose the ability to be bored without panicking. You lose the ability to sit down and work without bargaining with yourself every 5 minutes. And that's why you can be busy all day and still feel like nothing really happened. Because busyness is not progress. Progress requires attention. Progress requires depth. Progress requires the ability to stay with something long enough for it to compound. Think about the last time you did something that made you feel proud. Maybe you finished a project. Maybe you followed through on a plan. Maybe you worked out consistently for a month. Maybe you built something, learned something, or overcame something. What was present in that season? Usually it wasn't constant distraction. It was focus. It was simplicity. It was fewer inputs. It was less noise. It was a mind that could stay on one path long enough to see results. That's not an accident. That's how the brain works. When you're constantly switching, your mind is paying switching costs. Every small check, every quick scroll, every tiny interruption creates a mental reset. Your brain has to reload context. Your nervous system has to restabilize. That doesn't just waste time, it drains energy. And drained energy looks like procrastination. It looks like, I don't feel like it. It looks like fatigue. It looks like inconsistency. So again, you're not broken. You're taxed. Here's another way to see it. Imagine your attention is money. Every time you check your phone, you spend $1. Not because you're buying something useful, but because you're paying an interruption fee. Now imagine you check your phone 150 times a day. Some people check it more than that. You'd never consciously spend that much money on nothing, but you spend that much attention on nothing, and then you wonder why you feel poor inside. Attention poverty is real, and the cure is not shame. The cure is boundaries, it's structure, it's training. So we start with two boundaries I call the two gates. There are two gates in your day, the first 30 minutes after you wake up and the last 30 minutes before you sleep. If you protect these two gates, your nervous system begins healing almost immediately because you stop beginning the day with chaos and you stop ending the day with stimulation. Rule 1 is no phone for the first 30 minutes of your day. Rule 2 is no scrolling for the last 30 minutes of your day. This isn't about being strict. It's about reclaiming ownership. If your morning belongs to the world, your day belongs to reaction. If your night belongs to the feed, your sleep belongs to noise. But if you protect those two gates, your mind starts to feel like yours again. Let's make it real. The morning gate is where most people lose the day before it starts. The first thing they do is open a portal to other people's thoughts, other people's urgency, other people's problems, other people's highlight reels. They let the world set the tone for their nervous system, and then they wonder why they feel scattered. The night gate is where most people lose recovery. They spend the final minutes of the day feeding their brain novelty and emotion and drama and comparison, then expect their mind to power down like a switch. That doesn't work. Your nervous system needs a runway. It needs cues. It needs safety. So we build a runway. Now, I want you to understand something important. These two gates are small enough to be realistic and big enough to change your baseline. That's why they work. If I tell you don't use your phone all day, your brain rebels. If I tell you never scroll again, you'll do it for 3 days, then binge. But if I tell you protect two small windows, your brain can accept it. And once your brain accepts it, the rest becomes easier because you're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be consistent. Here's a simple way to set up the morning gate. You wake up, you do not open your phone for 30 minutes. If you need your phone as an alarm, that's fine. Turn it off, put it down, and step away. If you have to, put it across the room or buy an alarm clock. Do not negotiate with this. Negotiation is how habits stay the same. Your brain will try to bargain. It will say, just check quickly. That's the loop. You're breaking the loop. In that first 30 minutes, do something simple. Drink water, stretch, breathe slowly, write a few lines in a notebook, sit quietly, or take a short walk outside. Nothing heroic, just yours, just calm, just ownership. This tells your nervous system, I lead. Now the night gate. The last 30 minutes before sleep are screen-free in terms of feeds and scrolling. You can still use your phone for essentials like an alarm or a true emergency, but no endless content. Instead, you create a wind-down routine. Dim the lights, lower stimulation, stretch, shower, read a few pages, journal a few lines, breathe, prepare tomorrow. The goal is to teach your body that it is safe to power down. And when your body learns safety, sleep deepens. This is the beginning of canceling the invisible tax. But there's another layer. Even when you protect the two gates, urges will show up. Your brain has a habit loop. Your hand reaches for the phone before you even think. That's not a moral failure. That's conditioning. So in the next chapter, we're going to break down the dopamine trap and the urge loop and I'm going to give you tools to break the habit without becoming extreme. Chapter 2. The Dopamine Trap and the Urge Loop. Breaking the habit without becoming extreme. People talk about dopamine like it's a villain, but it isn't. Dopamine is not pleasure. Dopamine is pursuit. It's your brain saying that matters. Go toward that. It's a motivation chemical. It's what gets you moving. It's what helps you chase goals, build skills, and seek rewards. The problem isn't dopamine. The problem is when your brain is trained to pursue tiny rewards all day. Notifications, likes, messages, novelty, endless short videos, constant new information. Your brain becomes a hunter, but it's hunting crumbs. And when you train your brain to hunt crumbs, real life starts to feel slow. Work feels heavy. Reading feels boring. Silence feels uncomfortable. Goals feel distant. And then you call yourself lazy. But what's really happening is your brain has been trained into needing constant stimulation to feel okay. This is where the urge loop comes in. The loop is simple. Trigger, urge, behavior, reward, reinforcement. The trigger is boredom, stress, uncertainty, loneliness, fatigue, or discomfort. The urge is your brain saying, fix this fast. The behavior is checking the phone, opening apps, scrolling, searching, switching. The reward is novelty and relief. The reinforcement is your brain learning. Next time I feel that trigger, do this again. The loop gets stronger every time you complete it. So if you're trying to stop scrolling with willpower, you're fighting your nervous system. It's like trying to stop a river with your hands. The solution is to change the riverbed. You change the loop. First, you identify your triggers. Most people do not scroll because they're happy. They scroll because they're trying to regulate. They're trying to escape a feeling. They're trying to avoid a task. They're trying to cover loneliness. They're trying to numb stress. They're trying to get relief from uncertainty. So ask yourself honestly, when do I reach for my phone the most? Is it when I'm bored? When I feel behind? When I don't know what to do next? When I feel anxious? When I feel lonely? When I'm avoiding something that matters? This question is powerful because it shifts your perspective. Instead of, I'm addicted to my phone, you realize I'm using my phone to regulate something. And once you see that, you can choose a healthier form of regulation. Now I'm going to give you the simplest tool to break the loop. It's called the 90-second reset. When you feel the urge to grab your phone, you stop. You inhale slowly for 4 seconds. You exhale for 6 seconds. You say internally, this is an urge, it will pass. Then you wait 90 seconds before you touch the phone. Why does this work? Because urges are waves. They rise, peak, and fall. Most people never learn this because they obey the urge instantly. They never give the wave a chance to fall. But when you wait, you teach your brain something crucial. I can feel discomfort and survive. That's freedom. That's nervous system strength. That's emotional mastery. After 90 seconds, you decide intentionally. If you truly need to do something useful, send a message, check a calendar, handle a real task, do it. But if you were escaping, you choose something else. And the most important something else is not another hyperstimulating activity. It's something that restores you. That's where low dopamine joy comes in. Low dopamine joy is what your brain forgot how to enjoy because of constant novelty. It's simple, grounded, and regulating. A short walk outside, stretching, journaling, reading 2 pages, making tea, cleaning one small area, breath work, a short workout, planning tomorrow, calling someone you love, sitting quietly with a cup of coffee, looking out a window. These are not flashy. They're not viral, but they restore your nervous system. And a regulated nervous system does not crave escape as much. Here's the rule. When the urge hits, do the replacement for 5 minutes first. After 5 minutes, you can still choose. But most urges soften by then, because the urge was never truly about the phone. It was about the feeling underneath, and you just regulated that feeling without feeding addiction. That's how you rewire. You're training a new loop: trigger, breath, replacement, relief, reinforcement. Over time, your brain learns, when I feel discomfort, I can soothe myself without scrolling. That's a life skill. Now let's talk about boredom. Because boredom is one of the biggest triggers and one of the most misunderstood experiences in the modern world. People think boredom means something is wrong. They interpret boredom as a problem to fix. So they scroll. But boredom is not a problem. Boredom is detox. Boredom is your brain clearing out noise. Boredom is your system returning to baseline. Boredom is the doorway to creativity, clarity, and calm. But you have to stay with it long enough to pass through. So here's a practice. The next time boredom hits, do nothing for 2 minutes. No phone, no music, no input. Just sit. At first, your mind will twitch. That's withdrawal. It will feel like you should check something. That's the loop. But if you stay, you'll notice something interesting. Your brain starts producing again. Real thoughts, ideas, reflection. You might suddenly remember something important. You might see a solution to a problem. You might feel an emotion you've been avoiding. You might realize what you actually want. That's the gift of boredom. Boredom is where the mind reorganizes itself. It's where your inner voice gets a chance to speak. And you can't build a life if you can't hear your own mind. Now, a lot of people worry, if I stop scrolling, won't I miss things? You might miss some noise. You might miss some drama. You might miss some trends. But what you'll gain is far more valuable. You'll gain time, depth, clarity, presence, and peace. You'll gain momentum. You'll gain self-respect. You'll gain the feeling that you're living your own life instead of watching other people live theirs. And once you feel that, you won't want to go back. The next step is taking these tools and turning them into a daily system. Because the goal is not to fight your phone. The goal is to build a rhythm where your nervous system is calm, your attention is strong, and your life moves forward. That's what we'll build in the next chapter. Chapter 3, the Unplug Blueprint, your daily system for focus, peace, and deep rest. A lot of people know what they should do, but their life doesn't change because they don't have a structure they can live inside. So here's the daily system. It's simple, repeatable, and real. It revolves around 3 anchors: a protected morning, a focused creation block, and a calming night routine. When you anchor these 3, everything starts to shift. You stop living in reaction mode. You stop bleeding attention all day. You stop relying on stimulation as emotional relief. You start living like a builder. Anchor 1 is the protected morning. No phone for the first 30 minutes. This tells your brain, I lead. It tells your nervous system, we are safe. It sets a baseline of ownership before the world enters your mind. Here's a simple morning script you can use. Drink water, stretch for 2 minutes, take 10 slow breaths, and write 3 lines in a notebook. Line 1, what matters today? Line 2, what's one thing I can complete? Line 3, who do I want to be today? Then choose one priority. That's it. Not heroic, but powerful. Because you started your day with your own mind instead of the world's noise. Some people ask, what if I have kids? What if I have responsibilities? What if I need to be available? Being available is not the same as being consumed. You can still handle real responsibilities without starting the day in a feed. The morning gate is not about ignoring your life. It's about protecting your attention from unnecessary noise. If you need to check something truly urgent, do it intentionally, then return to your morning routine. The difference is intention. The difference is leadership. Anchor 2 is create before you consume. There are 2 doorways each day, consumption and creation. Consumption is an evil, but if you consume first, your mind becomes reactive. If you create first, your mind becomes powerful. So your rule is create before you consume. Start with 20 minutes if your focus is weak. Set a timer, choose one task. Do not switch. Switching is the enemy of depth. Depth is where progress happens. Depth is where confidence is built. Depth is where you feel that clean, calm satisfaction of actually moving forward. Now, here's what most people don't understand about focus. Focus isn't the absence of distraction. Focus is the ability to return. Your mind will wander. That's normal. When it wanders, you return. Returning is the rep. Every return is a training repetition for your attention. And this is important because modern life trained you to switch. It trained you to bounce. It trained you to chase novelty. So you rebuild focus like a muscle. slowly, consistently, without drama. Here's a practical focus ladder you can use. Week 1, start with 20 minutes. Week 2, go to 30. Week 3, go to 45. Week 4, go to 60. One task, one timer. If you can only do 10 minutes right now, start there. The starting point doesn't matter, the training does. Now let's talk about what counts as creation. Creation is anything that builds your future. It can be working on your business, writing scripts, recording content, learning a skill, planning your day, studying finances, going to the gym, meal prepping, organizing your space, making calls, sending offers, doing outreach, building systems, practicing a craft, or even doing the uncomfortable thing you've been avoiding. Creation is not about being artistic. Creation is about taking actions that move your life forward. And the reason creation feels so good is simple. Creation gives you self-respect. Consumption gives you stimulation. Stimulation fades. Self-respect stays. Anchor 3 is the calming night routine. No scrolling for the last 30 minutes before bed. You can use your phone for an alarm or essential logistics, but no feeds, no endless content, no emotional hijacking. Instead, you create a wind-down ritual, stretch, shower, read, journal, breathe, prep tomorrow, sit in quiet, lower the lights, reduce the noise. Your nervous system needs cues that it's safe to power down. The night gate is where sleep quality is decided, and sleep quality decides everything else. Here's a simple night script. Spend 5 minutes preparing tomorrow. Write your top 3 priorities for the next day. This is powerful because it tells your brain, we handled it. It reduces mental spinning. Then spend 5 minutes with your body, light stretching or slow breathing. Then spend 5 minutes with your mind. Read a few pages or journal a few lines. Then close with a phrase, I release today, I receive rest. Say it slowly. Your body listens. Your nervous system responds to your voice and your intention. Now, the glue that makes this system work is deep rest. Deep rest isn't just sleep. Deep rest is when your nervous system stops bracing. A lot of people sleep but don't recover. They wake up tired because their body never fully powered down. Their mind never fully settled. So you practice deep rest daily, even for 10 minutes. Put one hand on your chest and one on your belly. Inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Repeat for 10 minutes. While you breathe, tell yourself, right now, nothing is required. That sentence is permission, and your nervous system needs permission. Most people scroll because they're dysregulated. They're tense. They're overloaded. They want relief. Deep rest gives relief without addiction. And when you consistently give your body relief, your cravings for escape decrease. Not because you're forcing it, because your body doesn't need it as much. Now we make the system easier with environment design. Willpower is unreliable. Environment is powerful. Create a phone home. One place your phone lives when it's not in use. A charger in the corner, a shelf, a drawer, anywhere. The point is, your phone stops living in your hand. Create a focus zone. One spot that equals work and creation. When you sit there, your brain learns, we focus here. Create rest cues at night. Dim lights, reduce stimulation, lower noise. These are small changes with massive results because your environment trains your nervous system. Finally, relapse-proof your mindset with the return rule. You will slip. You will have a day where you scroll too long. You will have a day where you break the morning gate. You will have a day where you break the night gate. The old pattern is guilt. I ruined it. I'm back to square one. That thought turns one moment into an identity. So you replace it with one sentence. I return. Then you do the smallest reset possible. Put the phone down, drink water, take 3 slow breaths, do 5 minutes of a replacement activity, return to the plan. People who win aren't people who never slip. They're people who return quickly. Now in the next chapter, we're going to take this daily system and turn it into a full 30-day identity reset with detailed steps, troubleshooting, and a plan that makes this stick even when life gets busy. Chapter 4, the 30-day identity reset, a real plan that holds under pressure. A lot of people want change, but they want it in a way that requires no friction. They want to feel better without discomfort. They want to be more focused without training. They want to sleep better without changing their inputs. But real change requires a small amount of friction up front. The good news is, once you push through the initial friction, life gets easier. Your baseline shifts. Your nervous system calms. Your attention strengthens. Your mind stops craving chaos. So this chapter is your plan to make that baseline shift real. We're going to use 30 days because it's long enough to build trust with your nervous system. Not perfection, trust. Your body needs repetition to believe the new rhythm is safe. The plan is 4 weeks, each with a theme. Week 1, cancel the invisible tax. Week 2, rebuild focus. Week 3, replace and restore. Week 4, lock in the identity. Week 1 is about removing triggers and interruptions. Your daily non-negotiables are the 2 gates: 30 minutes phone-free in the morning and 30 minutes no scrolling before bed. Then you reduce the noise. Turn off non-essential notifications, move addictive apps off your home screen, and remove autoplay where possible. If you want a powerful move, log out of the one app that hijacks you most. Logging out creates friction. Friction breaks reflex. Reflex is what we're dismantling. During week 1, you will feel the itch. The itch is the urge loop trying to complete itself. Your brain will say, just check quickly. It will say, you might be missing something. It will say, you should respond. It will say, you deserve a break. You will use the 90-second reset. Stop. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. This is an urge. It will pass. Wait. The wave will rise and fall. Each time you do this, you break the loop a little more. Now, a big reason week 1 feels uncomfortable is because you're no longer using your phone as a pacifier. That means feelings can show up. Restlessness can show up. Loneliness can show up. Uncertainty can show up. This is not a sign that something is wrong. This is a sign that you're finally hearing yourself. This is where most people run back to the feed. But if you stay, this is where your life starts changing. Because once you can sit with discomfort without escaping, you can do hard things. And hard things are what change your outcomes. Week 2 is about rebuilding focus. You keep the 2 gates and you add a daily creation block. Start with 20 minutes if you need to. Set a timer. Do one task, no switching. Your mind will wander. That's normal. Return. Returning is the rep. You're training your attention like a muscle. In week 2, you also adopt the rule, create before you consume. This means your first real chunk of attention each day goes toward your life, not toward other people's content, not toward other people's opinions, not toward endless input, toward your life, even if it's small, even if it's 20 minutes. This is one of the fastest ways to rebuild self-respect because you start stacking evidence that you are the kind of person who follows through. Confidence isn't a vibe, it's evidence, and evidence is built by action. Week 3 is replace and restore. This is where the plan becomes sustainable and enjoyable. You keep the gates, you keep the creation block, and you add daily deep rest and daily low dopamine joy. You choose 3 replacement habits and you practice the 5 minutes first rule. When the urge hits, you do the replacement for 5 minutes first. You also add 5 minutes outside every day if possible. Nature regulates the nervous system. Distance relaxes the eyes. Sunlight and air calm the body. This isn't spiritual fluff. This is biology. And it works. Week 4 is lock and identity. You keep everything. Morning gate, night gate, creation block, deep rest. Then you add 1 weekly half-day feed fast. No social scrolling for half a day. You can still use your phone for logistics and essentials, but no feed, no endless novelty. This resets the unconscious dependence. It tells your brain, we are not owned. It builds a deeper kind of freedom because you realize you can live without constant input. And when you realize you can live without it, you stop fearing it. You stop craving it as much. Now we have to talk about the comparison trap because comparison is one of the most common reasons people scroll and feel worse. Scrolling is not neutral. Your brain compares automatically, even if you don't mean to. You see someone's money, body, lifestyle, success, relationship, confidence, and your subconscious asks, am I behind? If you do this daily, you train insecurity. Insecurity kills momentum, so you use the comparison filter. Does this inspire action or does this shrink me? If it shrinks you, cut it, mute it, unfollow it, hide it. Not because you're fragile, but because you're building. Builders protect inputs. Your mind is an investment account. Stop depositing trash. Here's a practical exercise. Pick the top 15 accounts you see most. Ask, does this make me feel stronger or weaker? Stronger means you feel motivated to act. You feel clear. You feel energized in a grounded way. Weaker means you feel anxious, behind, jealous, drained, or numb. If it makes you weaker, it's not for you right now. Mute it. Your future deserves your attention more than that account does. Now let's relapse-proof your plan with a realistic truth. You will slip. You'll have a day where you break the gates. You'll have a night where you scroll too long. You'll have a stressful moment where you want to escape. The difference between people who change and people who stay stuck is not who slips. Everyone slips. The difference is who returns. So you keep the return rule, I return. Then you do a small reset. Small reset could be drink water, breathe 3 times, clean one surface, walk outside for 2 minutes, stretch, or do the deep rest protocol for 5 minutes. The small reset breaks the shame spiral. Shame is what keeps people stuck. The return breaks shame. Now, some people ask, how do I know if this is working? You'll notice it in small ways first. You'll feel less reactive. You'll feel less itchy. You'll feel more present. You'll start finishing tasks more easily. Your sleep will begin to deepen. Your mood will stabilize. You'll have moments where you don't even think about your phone for a while. That's the nervous system healing. That's attention returning. Chapter 5. The identity shift from reactive to dangerous. If you want this change to stick, you don't need more motivation. You need a new identity, because behavior that doesn't match identity eventually collapses. When you see yourself as someone who can't focus, you'll subconsciously prove it. When you see yourself as someone who always procrastinates, you'll unconsciously return to it. But when your identity shifts, your behavior becomes natural. The goal is not to become a person who never uses their phone. The goal is to become a person who leads their attention. A person whose attention doesn't get stolen by default. A person who decides what enters their mind. A person who can sit with discomfort without escaping. A person who can create consistently even when the mood isn't perfect. That's the person who levels up. There are 2 identities in this story. The first is the reactive identity. The reactive identity wakes up and checks. The reactive identity lives with constant interruption. The reactive identity can't tolerate silence without reaching for stimulation. The reactive identity consumes first and creates later, and then wonders why energy is gone. The reactive identity uses the phone to regulate emotions. The reactive identity is always scanning, always checking, always slightly braced. The second identity is the creator identity. The creator identity protects the morning gate and the night gate. The creator identity creates before consuming. The creator identity trains focus like a muscle. The creator identity knows urges or waves and doesn't obey them immediately. The creator identity uses deep rest to regulate. The creator identity builds a life that doesn't require escape. Now here's what's important. You don't shift identity by repeating affirmations. You shift identity by stacking evidence. Every time you protect the morning gate, you stack evidence that you lead. Every time you complete a creation block, you stack evidence that you follow through. Every time you use the 90-second reset instead of reflex scrolling, you stack evidence that you can handle discomfort. Every time you do deep rest instead of chasing stimulation, you stack evidence that you can regulate yourself. Evidence becomes belief. Belief becomes identity. Identity becomes behavior. That's the chain. So the most important question you can ask yourself is not how do I stop scrolling? The most important question is, what kind of person am I becoming? Because once you decide that clearly, the behavior becomes easier. You're not just saying no to an app. You're saying yes to a version of you that is calm, focused, and consistent. And now I want to talk about something people don't expect when they detox. At first, it can feel like you're losing something. You're losing stimulation. You're losing novelty. You're losing the feeling of being plugged in. Your brain might interpret that as loss, but what you're actually losing is noise. And when noise leaves, you will feel what noise was covering. That's why detox can feel emotional. You might feel boredom, restlessness, loneliness, sadness, or irritation. Those feelings were always there, but the feed kept them covered. So when they rise, don't panic, don't run. See it as healing. Your mind is finally processing. Your nervous system is finally releasing. You are finally returning to yourself. This is where most people sabotage the process. They feel discomfort and they assume something is wrong. They think, this is why I scroll. I can't handle this. But that's the lie. The truth is, you're building the ability to handle it. Discomfort is not danger. Discomfort is training. Every time you sit with discomfort and breathe through it, you expand your capacity. And capacity is what creates resilience. Resilience is what creates consistency. Consistency is what creates outcomes. Now let's make that practical with a simple daily identity statement, not as a cheesy affirmation, but as a directive. Say this once in the morning after your first few breaths: I lead my attention. Then prove it with one action. Protect the gate. Create before you consume. Do a focus block. Do deep rest. Identity is not declared once. It's reinforced daily. Here's another identity shift. Stop seeing your phone as a source of comfort. Start seeing your phone as a tool. Tools do not comfort you. Tools help you build. So when you pick up your phone, your question becomes, what am I building right now? If you can answer that, use it. If you can't answer that, set it down. This is the simplest filter you can use to turn mindless use into intentional use. Now let's address a reality. You're going to live in a world of screens. You may need social media. You may need texting. You may need email. You may need to be reachable. This is not about living like a monk. It's about structure. It's about boundaries. It's about using the phone with intention instead of as a reflex. That's why you need a social media contract and phone fasting windows that fit real life. Chapter 6. The social media contract and phone fasting windows that actually work. Most people fail because they rely on vague promises. They say, I'm going to use my phone less. That sounds nice, but it has no edges. The mind can't follow a rule with no edges. You need a contract. A contract has specifics. A contract protects you when your mood changes. A contract keeps you consistent when motivation isn't there. Here's your social media contract. Say it slowly and mean it. I use social media with intention. I create before I consume. I do not use social media as emotional escape. I set a time limit or time window and I respect it. If I slip, I return without shame. That contract is powerful because it doesn't demand perfection. It demands structure and return. It turns social media from a default into a choice. Now pick one structure that fits your life. You can't pick a structure you won't follow. You need a structure you can actually live inside. Here are 3 that work for most people. The first is the window structure. This means social media is only allowed during a specific window, like 6 to 7 p.m. Outside that window, you don't open the feed. You can still use your phone for essentials, but you don't scroll. The power of a window is it removes negotiation. You don't ask yourself all day, should I check? You already decided. Decision fatigue disappears. And when decision fatigue disappears, your energy returns. The second is the timer structure. This means you set a daily timer. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever is realistic. When the timer ends, you stop. This is great for people who need flexibility but still want boundaries. The key is realism. If you choose a number that requires heroic willpower, you'll break it and spiral. Choose a number you can follow, then tighten later. The third is the weekday light, weekend heavy structure. This means minimal feed use during weekdays when you're building and working, and more flexibility on weekends when life is slower. This structure works because it aligns with your goals. You're protecting your best hours during your most productive days. Now here's the missing piece: phone fasting windows. Phone fasting is not about punishment. It's about maintenance. Your mind needs regular breaks from constant input. So pick one phone fasting window daily and one weekly. A daily mini fast can be as simple as your 2 gates: 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night. That's already a phone fast. If you want an upgrade, add a 2-hour evening fast. Pick a 2-hour window like 7 to 9 p.m. where there's no feed scrolling. You can still handle logistics, but no mindless consumption. This helps your nervous system settle and improves sleep dramatically. A weekly reset is one half-day feed fast. Choose a morning or afternoon once per week where you do no social media feeds. You can still use your phone for calls, maps, and essentials, but no endless scrolling. This one practice alone can change your relationship with social media because it proves you don't need it. Now let's make these boundaries easier to follow with friction and design. Friction is your friend. If you can open your favorite app in 1 second, you will open it in 1 second. So you add friction, remove the app from your home screen, log out, turn off notifications, set app limits, keep your phone in a different room during focus blocks. Use phone home so your phone lives somewhere, not everywhere. The goal is not to make your life harder. The goal is to make the bad habit harder and the good habit easier. Here's a simple rule. If your phone is within arm's reach during deep work, your brain will think about it, even if you don't touch it. It's like having a plate of cookies next to you while you're trying to diet. So during creation blocks, put the phone away. Another room is best. If you can't do another room, put it face down and out of reach. Your brain will relax when it realizes there's no maybe available. And when the maybe disappears, focus returns. Now let's talk about a major obstacle, the fear of missing out. People say, what if I miss something important? The truth is, important things find you. Your close people will call. Your work will reach you. Your life will still happen. Most of what you miss is noise. You are not missing your life when you unplug. You are returning to it. And the more you practice, the more you realize how much of the feed never mattered. It was just a feeling machine. It was just a novelty machine. It was not your life. Now, in the next chapter, we're going to troubleshoot the biggest problems people face. How to detox when you're stressed, how to handle loneliness, how to rebuild motivation, how to stop comparison from stealing confidence, and how to deal with relapse without collapsing. Because the plan only works if it works under pressure. Chapter 7, Troubleshooting, Stress, Loneliness, Motivation, Comparison, and Relapse. Let's start with stress. Stress is one of the biggest triggers for scrolling because the brain wants relief fast. When you're stressed, your nervous system is activated, your body is braced, your mind is racing, and scrolling feels like a quick sedative. But the relief is temporary and the cost is focus and peace. So what do you do when stress hits? You use a replacement that regulates the body, because stress is not solved by thinking. Stress is solved by regulation. This is why deep breathing works. This is why walking works. This is why stretching works. This is why cold water on your face works. This is why a short workout works. These things signal safety to the nervous system. So when stress hits and you want to scroll, your first move is not discipline. Your first move is regulation. Do the 90-second reset. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6, and tell yourself, this is stress, I can handle it. Then choose a 5-minute replacement. Walk, stretch, breathe, or clean one small area. After 5 minutes, you'll think more clearly. And when you think clearly, you make better choices. Now, loneliness. Loneliness is a deep trigger because social media and constant messaging can feel like connection. But often it's not real connection. It's stimulation that imitates connection. Real connection nourishes. Stimulation just distracts. So when loneliness hits, you need a replacement that actually connects you. That can be a phone call with someone you trust, a voice message to a friend, going to the gym and being around people, joining a class or group, even sitting in a coffee shop instead of isolating at home. The key is to choose a form of connection that strengthens you, not a form of content that numbs you. If you can't connect in the moment, use journaling. Write the truth of what you feel without judgment. Often loneliness dissolves when it's acknowledged. It's the avoidance that intensifies it. Now, motivation. Many people say, I need motivation to stop scrolling. That's backwards. Motivation is often a result, not a prerequisite. Motivation returns when your nervous system calms and your focus strengthens. You don't think your way into motivation. You act your way into it. Small actions create momentum. Momentum creates motivation. So if you feel unmotivated, don't wait. Do the smallest creation block possible. 10 minutes, one page, one email, one workout set, one call, one paragraph. The goal is not to do a lot. The goal is to start. Starting breaks the freeze, and when the freeze breaks, energy returns. Now comparison. Comparison is one of the most toxic aspects of scrolling because it quietly reshapes your self-concept. You see highlight reels. You see curated lives. You see results without context. And your subconscious starts measuring. Am I behind? Should I be further? Why don't I look like that? Why don't I have that? Even if you don't consciously believe it, the comparisons accumulate, and they steal confidence. Confidence is fuel. Without it, you hesitate, you procrastinate, you avoid, you play small. So you protect confidence with the comparison filter. Does this content inspire action, or does it shrink me? If it shrinks you, cut it, not forever. Just until you're strong enough to consume without internalizing. Curate your feed like you curate your diet. Your mind is not designed to digest endless information without consequences. You have to choose inputs that strengthen you. Now let's talk about relapse, because relapse is not a sign you failed. It's part of the process. The reason people stay stuck is because they treat relapse as identity. They scroll for an hour and they think, I'm back to square one. Then they binge, they spiral, they give up. But relapse is just information. It's feedback. It tells you what trigger you're still vulnerable to and what replacement you still need. Here's how you handle relapse. You do not negotiate with shame. Shame is a trap. Shame says, you are bad. Shame says, you can't change. Shame says, what's the point? Shame turns a behavior into identity. Instead, you use the return rule. I return, then you do a reset. The reset is small and immediate. Put the phone down. Stand up. Drink water. Breathe 3 times. Do 5 minutes of movement. Wash your face. Step outside. Then return to the plan. The faster you return, the weaker the relapse becomes over time. Now here's a powerful technique. Conduct a relapse review without judgment. Ask, what was I feeling right before I started scrolling? What did I avoid? What trigger was present? What replacement could I use next time? This turns relapse into learning. Learning turns into strategy. Strategy turns into freedom. The goal is not never slipping. The goal is getting better at returning and learning. Now let's troubleshoot another big issue. People say, I need my phone for work. That's often true, so we separate intentional use from reactive use. Use your phone for work tasks in blocks. For example, you check email at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. You respond to messages in a designated window. You don't let your phone be an open door all day, because open doors create constant context switching. Constant context switching destroys deep work. Deep work is what creates progress. So the rule is, if it's work, schedule it. If it's not scheduled, it's probably a reflex. And reflex is what we're rewiring. Now, one more issue. People say, I can't stop because I'm addicted. Let's reframe that. You might be conditioned. You might be overstimulated. You might be using the phone to regulate. But you are not powerless. You can train the nervous system. You can build capacity. You can create friction. You can replace the habit. And you can return. That's power. That's how humans change. Now, the final chapter will bring everything together into a clear, simple daily checklist you can follow, plus a longer guided deep rest closing you can include at the end of your YouTube audiobook to leave listeners calm and grounded. Because ending with regulation is what makes the whole message land. Chapter 8, the full blueprint. Daily checklist, weekly rhythm, and guided deep rest closing. Here's how you live this in real life. You don't need 20 rules. You need a few that matter. So here's the blueprint in its simplest form. Daily, you protect the 2 gates. 30 minutes phone-free in the morning, 30 minutes no feed scrolling before bed. This alone changes your baseline. Daily, you create before you consume, even if it's 20 minutes. A focused creation block, 1 task, 1 timer, no switching. Daily, you regulate your nervous system. 10 minutes of deep rest or breath work. Daily, you replace scrolling with low dopamine joy when urges hit. Walk, stretch, journal, read, clean one surface, breathe, or call someone. And daily, if you slip, you return without shame. That's the whole system. Now weekly, you do one half-day feed fast. No social media feeds for half a day. Use your phone for essentials, but no scrolling. This is your reset. It shows your brain you're not owned. Weekly, you also do a review. 10 minutes. Ask yourself, what drained me this week? What restored me this week? What did I create that I'm proud of? What one boundary do I need to tighten? What one habit do I need to make easier? This review keeps you conscious. Consciousness is power. Unconscious behavior is where addiction lives. Now, I want to give you a simple daily checklist you can put in your notes. You can read it each morning. You can use it like a scoreboard. Here it is. Morning gate protected, creation block completed, deep rest done, low dopamine joy chosen, night gate protected, return rule honored. That's it. 5 checks. You don't need to be perfect. You aim for progress. You aim for returning quickly when you slip. This is how you build a life that compounds. Now, before we close, I want you to understand what you're actually doing. You're not just reducing screen time. You're reclaiming attention. Attention is your most valuable asset. Your attention decides what you build. Your attention decides what you become. Your attention decides what you notice. Your attention decides what you think about. Your attention decides what you practice. And what you practice becomes who you are. So when you reclaim attention, you reclaim your future. You are also reclaiming peace. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is a regulated nervous system. Peace is the ability to be present. Peace is the ability to choose instead of react. Peace is the ability to sit in silence without panic. Peace is the ability to rest without guilt. And when peace returns, your decisions improve. Your relationships improve. Your patience improves. Your confidence improves. Your life improves. And you're reclaiming deep rest. Deep rest is where healing happens. Deep rest is where recovery happens. Deep rest is where your brain consolidates learning. Deep rest is where your body repairs. Deep rest is where you wake up with energy. Deep rest is not a luxury. It's a requirement for building a high-level life. So now we end the audiobook with a longer guided deep rest closing. You can keep this at the end of your YouTube audiobook. It becomes a ritual for listeners. It makes the message land in the body, not just in the mind. If you're recording, slow down here. Leave pauses. Let the breath carry the moment. Guided deep rest closing, 5 to 7 minutes. Find a comfortable position. You can sit or lie down. Let your body feel supported. If you're driving, keep your eyes open and simply listen gently, letting the words wash over you without trying to do anything. Now soften your jaw, let your tongue rest. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your hands, unclench your stomach. Let your body receive the signal that it can power down. If you can, place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. We're going to breathe slowly, and you're going to teach your nervous system a new truth, that you are safe in stillness. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2. 1, 2. Exhale slowly for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep that rhythm. Slow in, slower out. Each exhale is your body releasing pressure it's been carrying. Now as you breathe, say internally, right now nothing is required. Say it again, right now nothing is required. Let your body hear that. Let your mind hear that. You do not need to perform in this moment. You do not need to prove anything in this moment. You do not need to catch up in this moment. You are allowed to rest. If thoughts show up, that's normal. You are not trying to empty your mind. You are training your ability to return. Notice the thought and return to the breath. Returning is the rep. Every return is strength. Every return is peace. Now imagine your attention as a beam of light. When you scroll mindlessly, that beam is scattered in 1,000 directions. It's pulled outward. It's dragged. But right now you are gathering it. You are bringing it back. You are returning it to yourself. With every breath, your attention comes home. Inhale slowly, hold, exhale longer. Feel your shoulders sink. Feel your jaw soften. Feel your forehead relax. If your eyes are closed, let them rest behind your eyelids. If your eyes are open, let them soften and widen slightly, like you're looking at the world without grabbing onto it. Now repeat these words quietly inside your mind. My attention is mine. Again, my attention is mine. One more time, my attention is mine. Let that statement become a commitment, not a fight, a calm commitment, a grounded decision. Now bring to mind the version of you that you're building, not an unrealistic fantasy, a real version, a steady version, a focused version, the version of you who protects mornings, the version of you who creates before consuming, the version of you who completes what they start, the version of you who doesn't need constant noise to feel okay, the version of you who rests deeply and wakes up clear. That version is not far away. That version is built through small boundaries repeated. That version is built through returning. Now say internally, I lead my attention. Again, I lead my attention. One more time, I lead my attention. Feel how different that is from I try. This is not trying, this is leading. Leading means you decide the direction even when the impulse pulls. Leading means you return when you drift. Leading means you protect what matters. Take a slow breath in. Hold for 2. Exhale slowly for 6. With this exhale, imagine releasing the weight of constant reaction, the weight of always needing to check, the weight of feeling behind, the weight of comparison, the weight of pressure. Let it go. You don't have to carry it all at once. You can drop it little by little, every day with structure and return. Now bring one hand to your heart if you can and repeat, I return without shame. Again, I return without shame. One more time, I return without shame. Because shame is not your teacher. Shame is your trap. Your teacher is awareness. Your teacher is practice. Your teacher is repetition. Your teacher is the return. Take another slow breath. Notice the calm that begins to appear when you stop fighting and start regulating. This calm is not weakness. This calm is power. A calm nervous system is a focused nervous system. A focused nervous system is a productive nervous system. A productive nervous system is how you build a life you respect. Now we'll take 3 final breaths. On each exhale, soften deeper. Breath 1. Inhale slowly for 4. Hold. Exhale for 6. Let your shoulders drop. Breath 2. Inhale for 4. Hold. Exhale for 6. Let your stomach soften. Breath 3. Inhale for 4. Hold. Exhale for 6. Let your mind loosen its grip. Now, before you return to your day, I want you to remember the essentials. Protect the morning gate. Protect the night gate. Create before you consume. Use the 90-second reset. Replace scrolling with low dopamine joy. Regulate with deep rest. And if you slip, return without shame. When you're ready, gently come back. Wiggle your fingers. Roll your shoulders. Open your eyes if they were closed. And step forward with a calm decision. Final closing. Remember this phrase, I lead my attention. Say it once today and prove it with one action. That's how you level up. That's how you unplug to level up.